Hello and welcome to the SODAX August Tech Update. With you are your hosts, David and Fez. And today we're going to give you a quick 30-minute rundown of the tech updates in the SODAX ecosystem. Most of the talking is going to be done by Fez, and yours truly is going to ask some questions along the way. Fez, welcome, and let's kick it off.
Excellent. It's so good to have someone to talk to instead of me just running through it.
The last month
And
tech update was a bit unilateral, as we say, where you walked
yeah,
us through the roadmap, which is visible to everyone online. We'll share the link in the show notes. We're going to do the same thing. You're going to run us through, I guess, the updates, what's been happening, what's coming up, and I may ask a question or two along the way.
sounds good. Last time we were trying to get it done in 10 minutes. So you gave me a 30-minute window, David, which has just made my day. Like now I can really take my time. Thank you.
I did actually inject the 10 minutes for just us farting around, but I think I want to stay on topic. Our listeners want us
Yeah.
to stay on topic because everyone's curious as to what's been happening. We get a lot of the same questions when TGE, which isn't really a thing because we're migrating a token with this project, when website's live. So let's kick it off.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm just jumping straight to Q2, which is finished. The only thing pending in this is the SODAX website. The SODAX website is live. It's been live for ages. And this is strictly the .com, not the actual SODAX application. I'll have an update today around all of that. So the SODAX website, though, the second, we want to add more pages and a little bit of revise the content, etc. That's why I've left this ongoing. So I don't really have a particular update on this. Was just giving context, which you can see I've got in Q3 as well. So I have created a few cards. I haven't moved stuff, so I'm going to just talk through and move as we go. And maybe I want to give a bit more context on a couple of things that may have been confusing. So SODAX website, the SODAX money market app. So last update, I may have talked about this and mentioned the build was underway, the design standpoint. It is still underway from a design perspective. However, for the moment, it's been paused, and I'm going to go on hold, put it to on hold. And the main reason it's been paused is we prioritize the SODAX application front end for the migration and swaps, because we want to enable migration so users can migrate ICX to Soda. And because Soda is on Sonic and you will need Sonic for gas, it made sense to just get the swaps implemented, so that if users needed gas and stuff, they had this kind of function. Now, keep in mind, partners will also have this functionality. So you can use partners like Balanced and Hana are very close partners to do this stuff. But yeah, this is kind of why the money market component has moved to hold, and will come back into by next month or something. We'll come back into the build state for that.
Yep.
Okay, then I don't have an update on the backend infrastructure. Work is happening. So key piece that has been built is the backend infrastructure from the intents perspective. We keep a log of every intent that has happened so that in case there's some crashes or things happen, the backend will restore information so that potentially no intents can get missed, basically in a nutshell. And then some of the other work we're doing with the backend stuff is security dashboard related, a lot of emphasis, so we've got rate limiters and things like that, but we don't have dashboards that tell us detailed information of is every asset backed, unless we go looking at the contract. So a lot of backend work is going into that. At the same time, the ability to control the rate limiters. So not every time that anything happens, it's a hack. For example, it can be a very volatile day and the rate limiters kick in because suddenly we've had 100,000 USDC leave our contracts, which the rate limiters, if it hits 15 or 20%, whatever the percentage is, the rate limiters are designed to kick in and freeze the contract just in case it's suspicious. Now, The back end, once we start some of the new features that we're currently building, will be that, hey, if we hit this limit and we know it's not, hack related or security issue, we can then quickly adjust by 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5% to unfreeze the limit rather than doing a governance vote to do things like that. So it's just adding more functionality and flexibility to the rate limiters that are designed to secure funds, basically.
Yep. Makes sense.
So that stuff's underway. The SODA TGE event. So look, as David said, there's no event, but the SODA tokens have been minted. I want to spend 2 minutes here, David, and give a bit more perspective, because maybe there's been some confusion and also not formally announced, but given it's a dev update, I can give a bit more context here. The way in the background it works is SODA is native on Sonic. We've minted the entire supply, which is 1.5 billion tokens. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Then that supply is locked. Okay, so that gets minted and it's locked. Then what happens is we will then move the total icon circulating supply, which at the moment on the tracker, it's 1.08 billion tokens. But the tracker hasn't accounted for the 75 million burn and a bunch of other stuff, right? It's just an overall supply. So we will move that amount into the migration contract, not all in one go, bit by bit. As you know, just from a security standpoint, we don't want to have 1 billion tokens in a contract. Like maybe move 10 million as the migration starts happening and people are migrating, we'll top up the migration contract. So it'll just be a smooth flow. Users won't notice that. But that's kind of how the setup is. And the extra supply that has been minted, that stays locked. Okay, so that stays locked. It will vest off the 400 million that's there. It will vest yearly into the DAO, which is classified as circulating supply, but the DAO is not the market. So it vests into the DAO, and then based on if there's opportunities and where we want to use the funds and what initiatives we want to run, the DAO will provide those, will get voted and then used. So I just wanted to clear that up, because people are like, oh, well, all the supply is getting minted. Yes, it's getting minted, but it's not going into the markets. It's not getting diluted right away. It is strictly, that's it. That's the minting. There's no, hey, all this other crap's happening. And two, one of the primary reasons as well as being locked is from exchanges' perspective, when we're talking about supporting the migration, they want this. They don't want, generally exchanges don't want to see just new supplies coming in and out everywhere. So we're trying to abide by a lot of these rules and make sure we're compliant for the migration, for the exchanges to support the migrations.
Yeah. And are exchanges supporting the migration?
Yes, definitely. There's no one has come back and said no. It's more, there's generally exchanges have a consultation phase. It can be a month, 2 months. Like the big players usually have 3 months, and they go through assessing, which they've done. They come back with questions, and a few have confirmed. We're waiting for a few more before formal announcements. So, and this is a very painful process, because everyone's like, when, and we get it. But at the same time, like, it's not that they're playing dirty or anything like that. They're actually quite easy to work with. It's just they have formal processes, and we have to go through them. And once they give us the thumbs up, we can then formally announce dates and things like that, because they've confirmed it with us.
Yes. Clear.
Cool. So when I say SODA TGE, all that's actually set up. What I explained is done. You can actually go to SODAScan, SODAXscan.com, and you will see a bunch of migrations happening. This is not users jumping the gun. This is testing purposes. Frontends, everything's done, and we're testing. And now in the Discords, had you been there, John had put up this big thing, who wants to test the protocols and stuff like that, and people registered. So those people who are getting the opportunity to test the application and give us useful feedback so we can iterate on it. So yes, it's live, it's happened, it's all happening in the background. No one's getting an early start though. At this point, there's nothing to do when you migrate ICX to SODA, there's nothing to do with your SODA tokens. All the yield, all the staking, everything is still on Icon, right? So it'll be a phased approach. We'll launch the migration, people can play with it, then we'll start launching staking and pools and things like that so users can do more with their SODA tokens. I'll keep moving on.
Yep.
Okay, the hub rate limiter contract. So now this has seen a big delay. Like this was originally, I thought I didn't update the dates, but it was originally meant to finish in August. It's taken longer. In some of these cards now, I've started putting an update on the status of things, and I'm dating it. It's the normal dating fashion, not the American where the month is backwards. I can't work that way. So, in case you skip over this, you'll be able to see a bit of a trail of how things are progressing. This has been delayed. It is a little more complicated because it's not a simple rate limiter that gets deployed on spokes and acts a certain way on the hub. It's more complicated. But to add to it, Sonic have updated because they're pushing the new EIP, which meant a new testnet. So the rate limiter functionality, we have to do thorough testing on testnets. But because they've deployed a new testnet and started stripping support for the old testnet, testing has become very difficult. And in fact, many of our contracts now are gone. So we're in the process of redeploying the entire setup on the new testnet. Now, but it's just a deployment. Well, it's not in our case. We have to get all the contracts, the money markets. We have to reset up the relays, the verification contracts for all the testnets connect. So it becomes a big piece, right? Like once all these things are established, then when you add little components, it's much easier. But when you have to do the whole thing again for 12 plus chains, it starts to stack up. So that's why this has kind of been delayed. But this doesn't impact anything, like from partners going live, services accessible. This doesn't block that. This is more for ongoing security initiative that we're trying to push to go, hey, we're going to get hacked. It's going to happen. It always happens. What can we do to mitigate that risk? And these are kind of the ongoing things.
Yep.
So cool. Okay, yep. So I've put an update here. So I've explained in the past what the router contracts are. My one, when I set this up, I was ticking things off. Yes, the work's done. But while the work may have been done, it hadn't necessarily been done all the way to mainnet. So yes, it had hit the timeline, but it was just sitting there waiting to get integrated and then testing, which takes time. So I've kind of gone through the cards and revised some dates. With this, the router contracts are done. Right now, it has been integrated into the solver just on the hub chain, which is important because that's where for any swap, a lot of transactions happen on the hub. And it is currently in the staging environment. So in the solver world, there's staging and production. Both use production, like are live on mainnet and use that. But the staging solver, we push updates to first for testing before we move it into production as a stable release into that, where all partners use the production version of the solver. So what this will do is improve swap times. Okay, so that's the sole purpose of the router contracts. We built this tech. It's very different to the old infrastructure. It's a little more complicated, but it gives us flexibility to use our liquidity. But the drawback has been swap times have become longer. Instead of 30 to 40 at times, you're getting average 40 seconds to 1 minute 30 across the board. Yeah. Now, this is because every swap, there's a whole lot of transactions that happen on the hub, off the hub, before swaps are delivered. These router contracts, when we implement in the hub, we'll start to see certain pairs really speed up. And then once we start implementing the router contracts on the other EVM chains, we will start to see some swaps where you don't notice a bit of a, speed up. You will start to see those happen when we implement them on Base and a few other chains. Now, every pair is different. That's why I'm not specifically saying which pairs will be faster and which won't, because the solver's goal is to give you the best quote, and sometimes it may get the quote. You're trying to swap some USDC on Base, but it may actually go and do the swap on Arbitrum because it's seen an arbitrage to give a good quote, and then bridge the function to you and get the USDC and then bridge it to Base and deliver it, which then takes a little bit longer, but you would have gotten a better deal than just doing the swap on Arbitrum. So yeah, context there. This is what's happening. So first phase at the moment is strictly the Sonic implementation, which I was testing today on the staging solver, and there were certain pairs that saw a huge lift in speed.
When you test the staging solver, do these transactions show up on SODAXScan.com, or is it just the production solver that shows up on SODAX
No,
Scan?
it shows up on the staging or production, because they're both production. Just one is more. Yeah. Good question. Okay. The solver optimization. So I haven't put an update here. It's going well. So the solver optimization is a whole bunch of stuff happening, and it's essentially rebuilding components of the solver in Rust, adding caching functionality. And now, if we just need to get Alex David on to talk about this. If you hear him like today, even in the morning, it was like 2 a.m. He's working away because we've had certain deliverables hit. He's done some testing. It's really come back positive. And one of the messages he said, in 2 years of arbitrage, he was trying to crack a certain code for arbitraging, and he couldn't find the magic formula. And he goes, and I'm looking at it right now, and in a way he's devastated because he couldn't crack it, but in a way he's so pumped now that him and the team have built this. And then it goes over my head, but I'm super excited by it as well. What it means at its core, though, is it's the next version of the solver. To put it bluntly, this next version of the solver, which will then, using all the features we've built now, increase the speed of the solver dramatically again. So, but that's a couple months still away. I want to put perspective, but unlike the first version that we built for the old world, we won't see everything is reusable. It's not a rebuild. So, we built the first version. Then when we built this version, we basically started from scratch because we had to think of the new architecture, and it was very different to the old. This third version, let's say, is now looking at what's worked and how do we some of the shortfalls if we scale, which I've explained in past videos. I keep saying the same thing. But yeah, it's like, okay, if we get 10,000 tokens and 25, 30, 40 chains, there's a scaling issue. Okay. And that's kind of what we've been trying to tackle here. And we have now some outcomes, which has led to a re-architecting of the solver that utilizes everything we built to the future of the solver. And it's in progress and it's happening.
Got it.
So yeah, that's a few months out, but that won't stop new chains getting integrated, new LPs getting integrated. But those components will be very dependent on partnerships, right? So at this point, the phase is, if we have a potential partner we can partner with, which we do, they haven't been formally announced, we'll start doing that work rather than just connecting to any and every chain. Or if Hana, like you, David, who spends all his time on Hana now, or Balanced, or one of our new partners want something specific, which is something I will talk through in a moment, we will then zone in on that, because that is, a partner who's using our infrastructure, their request for their user base, which we're going to get benefits from, rather than, women of prayer to integrate something new.
So when we at Hana are done asking for our specific requests, any other wallet application that is not using SODAX is just, what are they even doing?
Right.
We're using it now. There's a couple of improvements that we'd like to see, but once they're there and around, it's just such a brilliant piece of the total application to work with. So,
everyone hears these updates, David, and probably thinking, but when are you launching? When's Hana launching, David? When's Hana launching the new infrastructure?
Hana is live right now. You can update your app and swap across blockchains that are enabled in Hana by yourself. So if you've got Solana, Sui, Stellar, and the EVM chain enabled, you can go ahead and swap assets across these chains into your wallet addresses on these blockchains. So all non-custodial swapping powered by the SODAX SDK. And it's there, it's working, it's great. You can do your swap and actually see the route that it's taken on sodaxscan.com. You can see
Mm.
the backend working. Um, the speed of the swaps varies. You've just said that the improvements that are underway to speed it up.
Mm.
And as now it's out there, people are using it. We're still optimizing the user experience there, but there's more coming, man. There's just the swaps is just part one. Go on,
Yeah.
continue. The NOL's
Yeah.
migrating. Why?
Yeah. Okay. So with this quick summary here is initially you would have seen we had plans that we'll do 25, 75. However, what we've done is kind of done one vote for the entire NOL migration. It's just been escrowed. It's still in balance pools and we'll just slowly migrate. So today, for example, I believe like 10,000 off each asset has been moved in prep for partners, more partners to launch their front ends to the new infrastructure. And as soon as those partners launch and everything's looking good, even though in testing it's all looking good, and give it a bit of time and we can start moving that NOL a bit more freely into the new infrastructure rather than, oh, hey, we've moved 250,000 in each asset. Worst case scenario, we have to roll something back and then suddenly we have to worry about moving the entire stack back into the old pools and stuff like that. So that's all. And also less burden. Validators told us, hey, we know this is happening. We don't need to do a vote every time, but because it's network owned, you actually do. So we implemented this escrow situation and we can then migrate at will when we need it. So that's a little bit about NOL. So there'll be no real update here moving forward apart from when we just gradually move all the NOL across. And once both our partners, which Hana's already live, balanced any moment now. In fact, I think Balance will be live when you're watching this. Balance will have already launched their front end with the updated infrastructure for swaps. So as soon as that's happened, then we'll start moving the liquidity much quicker so that basically, once the liquidity is in the new infrastructure, instead of those $5,000 and $10,000 limits, you'll be able to do 25, 30K swaps. And as long as the AMMs that support those assets have good liquidity, you're going to benefit from that, from those swaps. So enough about the NOL. Keeping an eye on time, David. The balance SODAX migration, SODA migration. There was a question about this, hence I've gone and updated the dating. The work is done, but again, with this piece, I shouldn't say, let's fix that right up. And with this piece, it was more, there's dependencies, right? The work's done, but for BALN, because the option for balance holders is to either do, instantly and you get a certain ratio, or if you lock it for different periods of time, you get a better ratio. So part of that, when you lock, we want to have it built in that it's locked and the SODA that's then vesting is staked. So, if you go for the, 18-month option, whatever the option is, I can't remember the exact dates, timeframes, but whichever one you pick, at least your SODA is staked in the background and earning based on the SODA tokenomics. So that's why this work is done, but it's not it'll be one of the last things that happen. BNUSD/ICX and SODA migration will happen first because there's no dependencies. They can just go on the chain and be there. And then once staking has rolled out and we've set that up, then the balance to SODA migration will kick off. So a bit of context there. So I've moved this date to middle of November, but I'll update this a bit more if we're getting through some work quicker. Okay.
Stacks.
Oh, you want stacks? Oh, there's no good news there. So let's talk the good news first. So HyperEVM, we're moving forward. The work's been continuing. We deployed HyperEVM and then it kind of stuck around. Sorry about the long. So the contracts have been deployed ages. It's all been live, but we just haven't moved forward with the next steps, which is the SDK and solver. Right now, the SDK component has been finished literally yesterday, currently testing it. And Hype has been added to the money market. The only other piece remaining here is the solver, to integrate the solver. And I would say that the solver will probably be, there's a bit of a backlog with the solver. We're in September, so I think middle of October, let's place it. So once that's done, basically partners can enable HyperEVM
Hmm.
cross-chain swaps.
Yeah.
It may be sooner, like the SDK piece is almost done, and as soon as we have availability resource-wise, we'll for the solver, this is on the list to get integrated because it's an EVM chain, so it's much simpler. Like it's a 2-day job, get it
Yeah.
done, and then a little bit of testing, and it's done.
Yeah.
So that's HyperEVM, which is why I wanted to give first, because we've been hearing Near and Stacks, and the update's kind of similar for Near and Stacks. In the case of Near, all the work is done. All the smart contract work's done and finished. The SDK and solver pieces have to still be done. Stacks is the same. Now, it's not as quick though. So because they're different tech stacks, like the SDK work is more like it doesn't like for an EVM chain to add the SDK work, it's 1 day testing. In 2 days, it's added to the SDK. But for something like Near, it's going to take time. So instead of zoning in here, and these two will need audits, external audits. So there's a whole phase there. I've prioritized getting HyperEVM out, and we have a new partner chain that we're working with, Lightlink, which is a layer 2 EVM. I put this here, and we've prioritized getting this done. Now, this is actually in progress and should be done end of this week. So let me move. I wanted to move this live on the thing. So at the moment, we have a delivery date. I've said 19th of September. At the moment, contracts are live, relays are connected, SDK is done, and the solver implementation of this is in progress at the moment. I have put details in this card. Given the time, I'm not going to go into it, but this will give you a lot of alpha, this card. There's not been any announcements.
I was gonna say, can you speak to the line, tokens involved are our SODA variants representing assets like BTC, ETH, SUI. What does that mean, Fez?
Okay, then I'll tell you. So
You've got 1 minute.
Yeah, about 1 minute. Okay. At the moment, we've got native assets on all the different chains, right? WBTC on Arbitrum, SUI on SUI, and then we have the hub. The hub keeps record of everything. So what actually happens is we mint these tokens on Sonic. It's what happens on Icon with Balanced at the moment. So these tokens that we mint are what I've just labeled SODA variants, right? So on the tracker, if you go on Sonic, you'll see SODA BTC, SODA AVEX, SODA ETH, SODA SUI, because it is the minted asset that we hold on the native chains minted into on Sonic. Now, this is quite cool. We have partners that are interested in, hey, these tokens, could we use them on our blockchains, or could we use them in our apps on Sonic? And you can. Like the way we've designed the protocol is once we've locked the token, we're actually able to mint it on any of our connected chains, just like BNUSD. BNUSD is a great example of how it works. You can swap from one asset to BNUSD on any chain, and the SODA variants that we have, which is backed 1 per 1, is like for BTC, it's unified. TBTC, WBTC all form the one SODA BTC. ETH, all the different L2s, ETHs form the one ETH on ours. SUI, there's only one SUI, AVAX, etc. So partners have the ability to import these tokens into bridge them from native chains into their ecosystem, or go to any chain it's connected to. And that infrastructure is live. It's part of the design process. The SDK pieces and stuff weren't done, but we've delivered that. Lightlink are very interested in this feature, and that's what we've been doing. Did that make sense, David?
Partially. What makes sense is that we basically, for bookkeeping purposes, we have these minted SODA BTC, SODA ETH. What is important for the, I guess, end users to understand is that you're always going to get the native asset on the native chain. So if you swap SUI to SUI, you're going to get the real SUI on top of the real SUI.
Yeah.
I think with this implementation, what Lightlink is doing is they're essentially importing external assets that are not native on their chain, and they're using our infra to do so.
Yeah. Exactly. So it's like, if you think like, the fungible tokens, like how Layer 0 can USDTO, how USDC can move, it's basically that. So because we have all these assets, we built that standard through our protocol, and that's what they're going to utilize.
Yeah, alpha heavy card. All right. So
Yeah.
then we does that bring us to the end, Fez?
Oh God, no, David. Almost there though. So one thing I wanted to note as well: the Bitcoin implementation right now is on hold as well. Just fully transparent there. It is super important. It's not something we intentionally wanted to do, but the Bitcoin integration is heavily dependent on our partners at Lydia Labs, and as you know, they've launched RadFi, which is being quite popular in the Bitcoin community, and the focus has been just making sure that app is stable and working, because part of our integration, there's a couple of crossover pieces of infrastructure that we're going to use of theirs, and then obviously the solver is going to be integrated into that. So until we have a bit of capacity there, that's on pause. Just being transparent there, that is actually what is happening. And then the other part was, there were a few extra pieces, the cards I created, the Bridge SDK. So Lightlink, great example, talking through. Lightlink wanted to use our infrastructure, but they were interested in importing these variants onto their chain. Now, we built the infrastructure, but we hadn't built the supporting layer, the SDKs, to make this very simple. So this kind of came onto the plate and is currently, actually, this is done. Let's move it to completed. I can do it on the call. So that's
Nice.
what August has been about. We kind of built the SDK to enable native assets being bridged, like SUI native to get bridged to the hub chain, or get bridged to a chain that wishes to have that enabled. So that was done. And the next piece, the SODAX front end. So I'm going to move this to in progress that we talked about. The savings app has been paused. The front end designs are done. Implementation is being built. In fact, this is being shared with the small community group that are helping, give feedback. It's already in their hands, and they're testing the SODAX swap front end. And the migration front end is also being done and is currently being shared, and we're getting feedback, and the overall infrastructure is being tested. So I'll move these to in progress. I don't think I put a timeline. I'll put a timeline in there, but I should have had the link open. I could have shared the UI as well. But these are in progress and at the tail end of testing. So those are the two I wanted to quickly talk through. And yeah, I think that's it. That's the end, David. What are we on? 33 minutes. You said 40, so we're good.
I did not say 40. No, we are good, and there's a lot packed into this update. There is even more packed into these cards, and the board that we've just looked at is public, so users can go there, click around, have a read, and understand all the technical parts that the team is working on right now, that the team has completed and that the team has lined up moving forward. It does seem like new opportunities and cards keep appearing injected into the current workflow. Like the work never like stops, or the pile doesn't shrink, which is a good thing. It shows that our BD is doing excellent work behind the scenes, and yeah, we can just keep going. I guess for the end user, the first thing they'll notice or see is indeed the migration announcements coming through. So they'll have to patiently wait for that, as it's dependent on the tech work discussed today.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add at the end before we close it off?
I was thinking, if I actually have loaded, I can give a quick peek at what the SODAX migration application will look like, which again, to remind, like, Balance and Hana will have their own migration interface with similar functionality, exact same functionality, I should say. So I can share that, and then we can close the thing. So people believe, hey, there's not just a board, there's actual, other stuff
Show it.
happening.
Bring it.
Okay, let's do it. Let me present and, I should have prepared this earlier. Okay, share, and here we go. So here is I haven't connected, but it all works. You can connect and do things, but there's final revision. So this is the migration piece for the first look at the SODAX app. Here's how you'll be able to migrate ICX to SODA and back and forth. You'll be able to then obviously, part of this migration is, yes, the BNUSD will need to migrate to the new standard. So we've enabled that as well, a one-click migration. There's no fees or anything for the migration apart from transaction fees. Balance will have their own implementation, and yes, the swap interface as well. So very quickly, you can see a little bit of how it will work. So it's there, it's fully functional, works, it's on mainnet, just going through testing, feedback, and optimizations.
Yes. And when you say balanced is going to have its own version, you're saying you're going to be able to migrate ICX to SODA unbalanced?
Yes. So balanced, and as I'm talking, this should be live. Balanced should be on the new infrastructure. You'll notice they'll have a migration tab, part of their UI and their design, that you can initially, it'll just have BNUSD, so you can migrate new to old. And the main reason there is when you're doing under the new infrastructure, when you're doing swaps, all the BNUSD from Icon will be old world. If you swap into anything on the connected chains through the new infrastructure, it will be new world. New world is the internal name, but yeah, it'll be new BNUSD basically. So the migration tab is there to help users who need to pay back old loans and stuff when they roll out the loan functionality in the new SODAX infrastructure. They'll be able to migrate, migrate to the old BNUSD, pay down all loans. I know it's a little bit tedious, but that's why the migration of BNUSD has been set up, so users can go back and forth to get their loans sorted. So Balance will have it, yes.
Okay, well, indeed, Hana will also be offering token migrations from ICX to SODA on mobile devices, which is in the works, and we're using the SODAX SDK for it. It's nearly plug and play, testing it obviously, and making sure that that's ready for the users to have an easy time moving their assets across. Okay, well, that brings us to the end. We've dipped just under 40 minutes, which is classically fast. August tech update. If you're still listening, be sure to just click a like and share the update with family and friends. Come chat with us in Discord. It's the main channel for SODAX talk, questions, and that kind of stuff. Community. We have a Telegram channel which has just a couple of very enthusiastic members who keep asking, where is everyone? Keep telling them, come to Discord, but they don't want to. So if you want to come join them in Telegram, join us there. It's a great time. And then all we can do is look forward to the September tech update, is it?
Yes, I think September will be a good month in terms of a lot happening. Like, people will see results, Well, Balance will have launched on the new infra. Hana's already launched. It launched at the start of September, so it's already coming together.
Yeah. All right. Well, then, thanks everyone for listening. We will see you next month with the September tech update. And for now, from us, bye.